Moving forward, this panel discussion is going to be about female founders scaling business with purpose. I'll repeat the topic once again for the panel discussion. This is going to be about female founders scaling business with purpose. This talk will be led by Mr. Ajay Sharma, Managing Director, Valuation Services at Colliers, India. Ajay ji has over 20 years experience in undertaking real estate valuation and advisory across India, Sri Lanka and the Maldives. He has been at the forefront of delivering accelerated growth and success for clients ranging from private equity funds to government agencies with invaluable and unique industry-leading insights. His core strengths relate to property valuation and advisory services for both personal and real properties. Please give Mr. Ajay a big round of applause as he joins us over here on stage. Thank you. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to be calling up on stage our speakers in alphabetical order, and I'll request all the speakers to join me on stage together after all the introductions are done. Our speaker we have with us today, Hemamalini Uppoor, Chief Executive Officer, Nina Percept Pvt Ltd. Hemamalini ji brings with her over 25 years of extensive experience in esteemed organizations. Her professional journey began with the Konkan Railway Corporation Limited, Government of India, followed by positions at State Bank of Travancore, Skyline Constructions and Housing Private Limited, Godrej Properties Limited, Total Environment Building Systems, and most recently as the Honorable Vice President and Regional Head, Engineering South at Tata Realty Infrastructure Limited. We also have with us today Nidhi Aggarwal, Director, Signature Global India Limited. Nidhi ji has been instrumental in expanding the company portfolio into premium and luxury segments. She combines global insights with strategic acumen, and her expertise spans across business development, finance, HR, and customer relationship management, ensuring operational excellence and extraordinary client experiences. Her leadership reflects a commitment to redefining real estate through innovation, efficiency, and of course, a customer-first approach, something that's very important. We also have with us today Nidhi Marwah, founder and CEO, Ananta Tattva India Private Limited. Nidhi ji is a mompreneur, I love that word, storyteller and a creator of experiences. Her career has spanned more than 25 years in the hospitality and premium real estate industry, and she covers leading names like Taj Group of Hotels, Intercontinental Hotels Group, and Marriott Hotels in Hyderabad. She joined the Executive Center for the launch of the first India Center in Mumbai and oversaw its growth in India, Sri Lanka and the Middle East. She founded Ananta Tattva, a premium co-working space company in the year 2024, and ever since that it has been going strong. We also have with us today Sarah Jacob, Director, Trine Holdings. Sarah Jacob has over 20 years of experience in consulting and real estate development. She started her career in IT consulting and has worked for over a decade in MNCs like Accenture, IBM in central London, and many more. Sarah moved into India in 2010 and has worked on residential, commercial, and hospitality projects and has in-depth understanding of the real estate business in the country. She is also, ladies and gentlemen, an active part of the CREDI national team and is currently the CREDI National Secretary, Women's Wing from the year 2023. Please give all our esteemed speakers a big round of applause as they join us over here on stage. Can I please request all our speakers to join me over stage here, please? Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, people at the back, the clapping and appreciation can get a lot louder. This is Mumbai. This is the spirit of Mumbaikers. Can I please request आप लोगों को जोर से तालियों की गूंज? Let's not make it feel like we have room for more people. तालियों की गूंज उतना जोर से होना चाहिए कि लगे पूरा हाउस भरी है. एक और बार कर सकते हैं on a countdown of 1, 2, and 3. Yes, that's how we do it. Thank you. Thank you, sir. And over to you. Can we please update the timer for the reference of our speakers? You can follow the timer over there. Thank you. Over to you.
Thanks a lot. So first, I would like to thank Realty Plus for calling me out here and providing me an opportunity to have a conversation with 4 illustrious professionals who have donned multiple roles in their lives. So it's going to be an insightful journey for me in this panel discussion. What is very important is today, I do not want to dwell on gender roles in real estate sector because these women have truly deserved the positions where they are standing. So we are not going to talk about the challenges, how they broke this glass ceiling and they've come up. But rather today, without any exception, we will try to take insights from them that as every business owner or professional, we can value and try to implement in our own course to grow and achieve what we set out to achieve for. Now, this particular topic is a very interesting topic. So, on stage with me, I have second generation leaders. I have a professional who has worked in hospitality industry and who has worked in office sector, and then today is working on something very innovative. I also have a professional who has done multiple roles in engineering, a very, very man-centric sector, but has held her own. And today she is among the key management personals in one of India's leading waterproofing company. So I'll start with you, Nidhi. Sorry, Miss Marwah. Let me put it. We have two Nidhis on stage, so let me put it to Miss Marwah. So generally, when we talk about a business, this is more about revenue, growth, and expansion. And every success a business has is measured with these three metrics, right? But then over the last few decades, we have seen this also changing, where a lot of emphasis is now being put on, say, innovation, inclusion, in terms of how you are trying to steer the organization and adapt to the changing times. So these have become very important. So when every organization is actually going towards that, right? What do you think are those key aspects of, in the clarity of the vision or a mission that you're setting out to attract talent, investment, and anything out there to do something like what you're doing currently? What is the pet project that you're driving? So what is required?
So there's a lot of things that come together. It's like an intricate weave, right? Few principles that I abide by are, one is the KISS principle, which is the keep it simple, keep it straightforward,
Right.
and most importantly, keep it sacrosanct. Your vision, your mission can evolve, but it cannot change. That's important. The other thing is to keep your vision as a code of conduct, right? As a cloak that you wear day in and day out, which helps you in your decision making every single time, and which you wear even on the days that you perhaps want to change, even on the days that you don't want to show up, but you wear it and
Right.
you show up. And lastly, I think it would be doing the story that you tell. It should project out from every core of you. If I'm talking about luxury experiences, every aspect of an interaction with me should reflect that. If I'm talking of combining wellness and work, whatever I talk or whatever I create should have that as its foundation stone. So these are the 3-4 things that I think must be there as a constant of your vision.
So previously during the spotlight session, Ms. Dheer spoke about how sometimes self-doubts, failures, also come about, and you have to overcome them, look forward, and especially when you do a startup, which is what you're actually working on right now. How convincing you should be to self, and then also drive the story with your employees and customers, because that's very critical. So what I'm trying to understand is, how do you communicate that clarity?
So that's what I told you about. You have to keep it simple and straightforward, and you have to remain true to it. And I think acceptance of these situations plays a big part in how you navigate a situation or navigate a conversation. And that for me is very important, the transparency of it all, the fact that somebody who's worked with you, and it's a small industry, right?
Correct.
Anybody who's worked with you enjoys the experience of an interaction with you, and B, builds up a trust that they can revisit time and again through the course of, the next few years and so on and so forth. So it's for your own conviction, it's for understanding, and again, you have to balance it. Whilst you're experimenting, you have to balance optimism, experimentation, and caution.
Right.
If you've got all these three right, you're pretty sorted. And then take the world as it comes. I don't think it's said, when you fall, don't keep your body rigid, right?
Right.
If you make it soft, you'll have a softer landing, you'll break lesser bones, and you will be able to stand up straight, right?
Understand,
So
yeah.
that's important as well.
So marry aspirations with pragmatism. That's very critical. I come to you now, Hema, is because like Ms. Marwah said, clarity and all those things are required, which is a significant foundation for any organization. But when you're working as a professional, okay, where your stakes are more to do with what you can deliver, right? Rather than, because you really don't have the risks that the promoters have, but as a professional, what you can deliver. How do you combine flexibilities in, say, financial metrics or, talent and all those things, and yet drive an organization to deliver for what the promoters are seeking as a vision to achieve, and also what you have set out with the contemporaries, with the market competitors?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I thank Realty Plus for giving this opportunity to speak out my experience with all of you. Yes, Ajay, I think as a founder and as a professional, I think there are two different roles we'll be playing. When it comes to business and scaling up, it completely works different way. If it's a founder, they know that, okay, this is a number I'm going to achieve. But as a professional, it is a target which has been given to me, where I'm supposed to reach, where I'm supposed to take my team there, right? When it becomes a financial flexibility, the target which I set for my organization as a vision, how do I transfer that to my team, the down? What is that cushion I need to keep? Or I can say, what is the flexibility I need to keep? That is more important. So in the financial flexibilities, usually it happens on your revenue,
Right.
your profit, what margin you're going to give, and what margin you're going to get the project, and how do you retain that for a longer time.
Right.
And the last one is the very favorite word, PBT, EBITDA. So how
Right.
do you achieve that?
Right.
So what we do in my organization is currently, we have a very set decentralized system. When I back the order, my team don't come back to me. I've set a target to them saying that, boss, this is the gross margin in which I'm supposed to back the order.
Right.
Right? If you have some target that, yes, the volume is big and this is a big project, I can manage my overheads, I can compromise on margin, yes, come back to me. Otherwise, you go ahead and get the order. My operation team has got a clear set target that, yes, this is my margin, this is the profit I'm going to achieve. I'm supposed to get back to the company. So they work according to that. Whatever we say, all these targets, but when it comes to a ground, it is really difficult. It's a very, very unorganized industry we are working for. See, mine, just to give a brief about my company, I am working for a waterproofing company where day in, day out, we work with 2,000 plus laborers on roll, managing them, getting on time. They work with us all seasons of a year. Because in India, we know the holidays in Holi, there's no labor. In Diwali, there's no labor.
Right.
But my commitment, my margin never changes.
Right.
Right. So all these challenges which keep coming, there will be ups and downs on the quarters. I may miss on quarter 2 because in Mumbai, quarter 2, nothing happens with the rain for a waterproofing. Right. Whatever I am doing for a year, it gets tested in quarter 2.
Right.
So guys are going ups and downs, but we ensure that at the end of the quarter 4, we achieve the number with the cushion what we kept. So maybe the cushion may be 5% or 10%, but the target which has been set for 15% or 20%, we as a team, we deliver that.
So it's very, it would be very interesting to hear the conversations you're having in your board meetings, because all of us have these targets, but you're also charged with a role to take the company in new directions. So how, at that time, how do you kind of, marry this pragmatism, which Ms. Marwah was telling about, right? So, and at the same time, build something solid for the future.
See, my board of director, their expectation is simple, that what is that profit you're going to bring it on the table today.
Right.
So is one, that is on the financial perspective. The second one is the value. As an organization today, we work for our value. With the passion we work. On a 65 years, we are there in this industry. It is just because of the work what we have done. Today, what client or my customers have a faith on us, the trust on us, which is taking us ahead. So as a waterproofing company today, Pidilite Industries has taken over the two companies. One is a North India based company, is a Nina, and the Percept is a South India based company.
Right.
These two are merged together and it's become Nina Percept for Pidilite. Right. Pidilite has taken over this as their extended service vertical. So they don't put a target of like, okay, now the exponential target of 20%, 30% you achieve. They are also very cautious. Their growth, they have planned in such a way that it's a value-based, structure-based, and is a hygiene growth.
Right.
So the board expectation, it is based on this. So it is very easy for me to take it forward with my team and achieve the targets.
So that's interesting. So, so foundation, we have spoken, we've talked about revenue pragmatism. So Sarah, you're a second generation leader, right? Now, so when we spoke about foundation and revenue, right? And then we suddenly see markets changing, and you're into core real estate experience, that is residential, commercial. So touch and feel is very important. So we see changes happening very fast in terms of what expectations the clients are laying out there. So how do you run about this co-creation aspect, right? Because it can happen with your internal team and also with the external clients. So how do you run with this co-creation? Because the relevance of a business is only as much as it can adapt to the changing trends.
Very interesting question. So I think co-creation is no longer a buzzword right now. So in my opinion, co-creation happens at different levels, okay? It could happen with a customer, it could happen with a vendor, supplier, and even the government bodies. Right. And when you start having, different sets of levels, and you start to create something that is very unique, you start to bring value that makes you a differentiator, and at the same time, that becomes very innovative. So say, suppose in a very diverse customer requirement, Bombay as such, when you have home buyers from South Bombay to someone in, say, a Tier 2 city looking for an affordable housing, when you start to co-create and sit with these requirements and start to understand them better, that's when you build some relevance, and that then helps you grow and scale your business. So I'm just going to give you an example from a customer's perspective, from a government body, as well as maybe a consultant, a green building consultant or anything like that. So sitting with customers, say suppose you start sitting with the old projects and with the association, what they faced, right? And when you start to understand what the difficulties are and incorporate these in the new designs, you're actually one step ahead of the curve. You've become a differentiator and you've brought value to customers. Then again, you look at Kerala again as a market. I'm going to touch upon different geographies, because co-creation happens at different asset classes, different geographies, and across the sector as such. So Kerala as such has high senior living, and if you look at BBC speaking about all the talent that is leaving the state and having a lot of seniors there. So when you create a house, obviously all of them are going to buy it for their parents. You might need to have those additional study spaces that could be converted as a nurse station or a nurse room.
Right.
It could be, so work from home. It could be a study space. It could be anything. So that is work, co-creation, because you're coming up with what is the need of that certain geography, that certain place, and brings value. Then again, from a design perspective, if you sit with your architect and you're able to, put the columns as such, you're able to customize to nth degree.
Right.
You sit with the, you speak to like people who've used the kitchen spaces in your old apartments, and you start telling them what is missing here. And then you realize that so many aspects could be brought in. So then we started creating in our new project, the main kitchen, the work area, the storeroom, a maid's bathroom. It then became a differentiator. It was a marketing strategy. I was able to sell the projects faster than we even thought of.
Right.
Okay. And from a government agency, now I'm talking about, especially when you're doing real estate, across geographies, you need to be aligned to the government bodies, and you need to be aligned to their culture. You need to be aligned to the urban planning. So say, suppose in Bangalore, and I'm coming back to Bangalore. In Bangalore, we have an IT park, right? And it's created a traffic on that ring road. So what if this developer co-created a flyover so that the people who needs to get into this IT space can easily move in, thereby allowing the traffic also not to be affected.
Right.
So what happens with that is, again, your projects move faster. Your
Right.
hurdles, your government, sanctions are in place, and you have a community acceptance.
Right.
So that is what co-creation brings from that perspective. Now, talking about green building, consultants or an architect, I mean, I stand for sustainability. I stand for something. Those are my core values. Okay.
Right.
Now, as a second generation entrepreneur, even though, we've had this for over the years, 30 years, we've been in the real estate sector. But when I came in, I wanted to make a differentiation. I wanted to do something very different and unique. So I picked sustainability as a core value for the next 20 years, what we stand for. So therefore, when I sat with the consultants, like United Nations has said, all of us have to go, net zero
Net
by
zero.
the year 2070 or 2050 or whatever it is faster than we can think. What did we do? We started thinking, how could we do this? And thereby sitting with the consultants, we created that the common area of my apartment is going to go on 100% solar renewable energy, which means the maintenance cost for the apartment owners association, whatever, is reducing. Therefore, it became a differentiator. A lot of people wanted to buy the space, right? So those are values that bring in the difference. Maybe I wanted 60% of my built-up area into a green space. So I sat with the architect and said, how different are we going to, so we have a lot of steel waste. I'm going to give you like small examples. A lot of steel scrap waste that goes in.
Right.
So if you create those planter boxes, like I'm come from a, engineering background. So use these kind of spaces for those, and the wastage is also limited, the debris is limited, and thereby you're able to give a planter box in the apartment design, and that brings a unique perspective. And even while you're sitting in the bedroom, even if you're on a sky villa about 20 floors, you still have a garden space there.
Right.
So those are co-creations, and now with co-creation you will have happy customers, and you will have customers who stay with you for a longer period of time. And when there is a customer, demand or customer requirement that's growing, and in a very competitive industry that we are in, right?
Right.
If you start to listen, you adapt, and you build according to this, that's a good practice, and it's a great business strategy.
Right. So that's quite interesting. So actually, from a co-creation perspective, right? So co-creating with vendors, customers, everything is it's there. It adds a lot of value for your output. But Ms. Aggarwal, you are a second generation leader as well. While Sarah has it very easy, right? Because she takes all the calls with co-creation. It not might be so in your case, right? And generally, when we talk about family businesses, we talk about governance, we talk about so many other things, like what you were saying. She was saying that community acceptance. The community acceptance here has to be first inward, because you are a community already, and then look at the external community acceptance. So when you are driving this business with a purpose, how does this work?
So yes, I was listening to her when she was talking about the second gen, like being leaders as a second generation person in the company. And we were talking outside, and you said the same thing, that she is like you have to take all the calls. For us, yes, we have a lot of stakeholders in second generation as well. So it's a good thing and a bad thing both. It's like it has goods and bads both. But first I would like to say is that when a business is when the first generation does something successful, for example, in our company, the founders, my dad and my uncles, they started 10 years ago, and they created a $2 billion company, and that is something they stick to a formula, and that worked, right? And that is when it becomes a problem when you enter. So, they expect you to do the same thing. Absolutely. It's like more of like a fixed formula, right? That, oh, this has worked in the past, so let's just continue that, like a legacy kind of a thing.
I understand.
But the thing is that markets change, customers' expectations change, governance standards, everything is rising. So it is important that, we have to adapt to that. And I think as a second gen, that is what we are doing. We are also trying to put more structures in place. We are trying to understand from the outside perspective. Not only, it's not just the builders, it's not just it's not just the customers also. It is also the local authorities, like she also said, that you have to listen to everybody and just come on a common path. Okay, this is how the governance should be. For example, bringing more professionals on board, somebody who is more skillful, right. So that we are not just dependent on legacy. It's not like, it's a good thing that has happened, but one has to adapt. But we also have to bring robust systems in place so that in future we can lead in a very well manner.
So it's a very interesting thing, because getting professionals from outside has always been a bane for family-driven businesses, because like you said, they would want to continue, they want to hold the reins till their last breath, right? Just from Signature Global perspective, wanted to understand, because you do have a fantastic professional heading the helm, right? So if you had been privy to the conversations before he came on board, how did that happen, or how do you see that, and what is that experience that you're taking away from that? Because I'm quite sure from your father and uncles who actually went through this entire slog of building this empire, and suddenly handing the reins to a third person who's going to drive the business, what sort of conversations and what was the takeaway from that you had?
So very honestly, yes, I have been I was fortunate enough to be a part of that conversation. I think, first of all, the conversation that I saw initially, it was more about, yes, they wanted to place their trust on them, but there was some level of, they were scared at some way also, that what if the promoter loses the touch on the ground?
Right.
Okay, but they knew that they have to adapt, they have to bring these people, because these people bring the outside perspective.
Perfect.
So I think it's a balance of trust while also keeping yourself grounded. So I saw a lot of reviews. I saw a lot of systems in place. For example, meetings, every discussion, it would be more of a discussion. I would also be a part of discussion. I was also being a part of the discussion as well. It's more of okay, this is how we think, this is what we want. Okay, what do you think? What should we do better? So it's more of co-creating, like we have been discussing here.
Fantastic. Ms. Marwah, the point is that after hearing all four of you in the first set of discussions we have had, looks like there's every bit of experience at every stage of your life that is shaping up the decisions that you are making, right? So especially with the kind of concept that you're now bringing to the market, right? And I don't know how much the market is ready or to adapt, because it's quite an interesting concept. But the idea is what are those various experiences you have felt, like, from the days you started as in the hospitality industry, then in the organized commercial real estate, and now as a founder. What are the set of experiences you think you can share with us which have kind of shaped how you are today and how you want to move forward?
So, okay, so let me, since we were talking, since Radha spoke about acronyms, let's go with another one. Epoch, people who are into fitness would know what an epoch is. It is essentially the oxygen and the calories that you burn after a high intensity workout. So if I have to look at E, which is evolve, evolve your leadership style, evolve even your SOPs. So you just spoke about it, but your SOPs should be a book that you have a conversation with. It should be like a Dhruv Tara, like a pole star. It is a guiding light.
Right.
It is not a constitution book that you put on a pedestal and worship it. You have to constantly keep evolving. P would be, of course, people. They are the starting point and the end point, be it your internal customers, you yourself, or your external customers. P would also stand for me for prosperity and not just profitability. There is a huge difference between the two.
Absolutely.
So when you look at all-round prosperity, it's just a more collective way of looking at wellness all around. It is also perfection. Perfection is not about adding more and more to the mix. It's actually taking away what is not needed. So you need to keep chipping away. O for me would be observe. I think we are all in such a high-paced environment all the time,
right,
that we fail to stop and to just observe. I'm an observationist. I observe the subtle, the nuanced, the small print, the little trends, the undercurrents. These are so important when you are creating or curating an experience for somebody else. Extremely important, and it works in all walks of life. C for me would be culture. It's such an underdog of an organization, but it is such an important and critical part of it. You cannot have an organic culture. It has to be an intentional culture. It has to be something that you work on every single day. And that becomes, again, like a foundation stone or a cornerstone of how your organization is, how it makes people around them feel, how it even drives how you curate an experience for somebody else. So yeah, I would kind of condense it into these four things.
So, Sarah, coming to you, it's very interesting because she spoke about epoch. Epoch also has a different meaning. It's life-changing events, right? So, sometimes these life-changing events and many of the experiences that today, how we are is we are very driven statistically, right? Everywhere you turn, people talk, oh, let's do big data, let's do blue ocean strategy, let us figure out all these things, right? So a lot of investment going into understanding every single data point, its correlation to your business strategy, the decisions you're making. But there's something called contextualization of all that, right? It's very critical. How do you marry the output that is coming from this hard data analytics, and then how are you contextualizing it to the human being at the end of the day? Because all that we do is centered on that human being at the end of the day. So how do you contextualize it? And you think, which of the one is more important? Is there an opinion on that? Or you feel that both can go hand in hand?
Okay. So with BI and analytics, I think you can get a nice dashboard which tells you how your business is doing. Okay. It can talk about sales velocity. It can talk about the customer footfall in a commercial space, all of that. But is it going to tell you something beyond that and to tell you a story of why it is happening, right? That's when concept, contextualization comes into place. And when you start interacting with the customers involved or the stakeholders involved, you then come up with the data that's more relevant and more of value, right? So I think the same thing holds good. Now, if I take an example of two buyers, same bracket, same, you can look at their RERA data, but they'll have two different consumer behavior of buying two different products, same category, same, expectations. But it could be that the reason because they're doing this is because maybe family dynamics or like a vastu or something totally different, right? And all of this, do you think it's going to come through data or from the dashboard? No, right? So when you start interacting and when you start going deeper and contextualizing why this happened, I think that becomes like a more meaningful, engagement and brings in more relevant data and using that. So I don't believe in just data or whatever. It's a fusion of the both.
Right.
And with that fusion, you kind of bring like a powerhouse of, and that helps you to accelerate with growth and things like that. And I also want to touch upon like a non-financial financial metrics, right? So when I touch upon non-financial metrics, probably it could be like your ESG impact. It could be like your construction quality. All of this plays a very, very, very important role in the long term, right? But a financial data tells you about how good your business is growing. But the non-financial data tells you how strong your principles and your foundations are. So, and in an industry like this, if your foundations are not strong, then there's nothing like it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, Ms. Aggarwal, so this is just an extension of that question. But here it's an interesting twist is that contextualization and, BI, all these are fantastic. And usually when you go professional way from an organization perspective, these get the heavyweight time, in terms of board meetings, in terms of KMP discussions, everything. These get the most important amount of time. But then you also have the promoters who have garnered these years of experience and who say, I have been there, I've done this, I know this. And then there are challenges thrown at the professionals, and then there's counter challenges. How does this work? And then how do you come to a common ground to move ahead?
Yeah, interesting. This has happened a lot again in this company where I am also at. And, to be very honest, I've just worked for 2.5 years or so. But in those 2.5 years also, I have seen like more and more professionals are coming, right? I have seen how, the founders, how their roles are changing. Like earlier, they were more into every decision making, everything they were getting into. Now they are more into, creating visions, guiding them, investing in long-term value creation and stuff. Like they are more of enablers rather than doing something on ground. So I think it's more about, the roles are still there. They just change their roles. They become somebody, they are basically giving a space to a professional. Okay, you do this thing. I will go into a new role. I'll go into guiding people. I'll go into shaping the culture of the organization to why the organization was started in the first place. Now they are working on that part.
Right.
So,
and as young leaders, how do you figure in these conversations? Because they're two already heavyweights, the professionals with 20 years of experience, the promoters who have started the company, and then your second generation leaders sandwiched here. So how do you navigate these conversations and then, put in a flavor to the company?
okay, so I do understand. See, they are professionals, but yes, we were also fortunate enough to, study, bring some kind of knowledge that they might have and might not have. So I think, for example, from customers' point of view, okay, so with time, when I was talking to my colleagues, my friends around who are into real estate as well, I realized that, right now, customer interaction is not just limited to calling them or just like meeting them physically. So I was just discussing with everyone, and we just thought, why can't we do it on phone? Why can't we just make everything on phone? Why do they have to visit us physically or wait on calls? And then we came up with an app like Life at SG. And now no customer has to visit. Like once you become our customer, you go on that that app, you will find your invoices, everything. Even after handing over the the apartment, that person does not have to call us ki meko ye problem hai, these are my complaints. So I think there are some things that we as a second gen are bringing something. Okay, this is professionals have to do something that is being guided by the founders, but we are bringing something that was maybe guided and maybe somewhere we think that outside world wants.
Right.
So it's more of like they are following their path, we are bringing something new, and they are doing something that has been told with a professional skill.
Fantastic. So, Hema, last question to you. So from all these discussions, we've understood partnerships are extremely important, right? And they make and break organizations. And your company has been at forefront of forging these very critical partnerships when they were not part of Pidilite and also as part of Pidilite. So how do you see these partnerships shaping business? One, I'm talking of the internal partnerships and also about the external partnerships. So how do you see these both shaping the businesses, and which has a larger influence in how your business actually is seen by your customers and by every other person who's being impacted by its presence?
Ajay, I think when we talk about a partnership, there are two things we have to look at it. One is a tangible, one is the intangible benefit. Of course, when we are scaling up, we have our tie-up with various partners. How do I select my partner? What are my bases for selecting the partners?
Correct.
So those are the important pillars of the selection of the partners. So I feel there are 4 important partners selection criteria. One is the value. What value they bring it to me? That may be in terms of the business, tangible one.
Right.
That may be the intangible one, the value system in the structure and the behavior. How they have made the name in the industry. Those are the intangible one. It cannot be measured. And second one is about what type of rarity they bring. Because if I have a tie-up with one partner for my business scaling today, so what rarity I get. So if they have a special patents, the special agreement approvals, which I don't have.
Right.
So those tie-ups I have to look at, so that value addition I get it for my business. And third one is like today any business, like imitation is so easy.
Right.
If I produce something, some chemical today, tomorrow somebody else will come up with a similar name, similar configuration, similar parameter.
Absolutely.
So how I can be different in the industry? And as an organization, the fourth one, suppose as an organization, how much importance I give it to my people, how much importance I give it for my structure, irrespective of my business. Okay, 1 year I may not be having a business, it's fine. What is the importance I give for my people? The business, not at the cost of losing your talents,
Right.
not at the cost of losing your clients and your name, fame. So these are the parameters I think which adds value when you look at the strategic tie-up with the partners. So focus should be more on intangible ones. Tangible, automatically it works out. The little more focus on tangible. Intangible has to be like more focus, and our tie-up should be should begin with that,
Right.
intangible ones.
But are there instances where your partnership selection is going with a sense of promise rather than what they can bring to you to table today? So, for example, you might want to tie up with someone because of the promise they're showing as an idea, rather than it's not really there, but as an idea. So, do you think that kind of partnerships make sense for an organization, or you would rather see a very tangible outcome on the day one that you get into a partnership?
Usually when we see the partnership, we never look at the promise or idea as a criteria for us to have a tie-up with them. We want to see the result, what they have delivered, how much they have grown in the competitive market today, and how we can have a joint business along with them. It has to be visible, it has to be tangible,
Right.
not on the intangible
So,
ones.
on that note, this is the last I open to all three of you apart from Hema, is because she said that the idea has to be very tangible today and generate value for getting into a partnership. But you are all in the business of creation, which is all about ideas, right? So how do you get into these partnerships? You're all free to get into the conversation.
So something proven, something tried, tested, going only by that has probably addressed all the needs of everybody around. It'll probably get you a university seat, but I think creativity, I think innovation, I think thinking out of the box or just challenging the box is what has driven human evolution.
Right.
So I would put a lot of stock on that as well. The fact that you today have a women's forum here also is testament to the fact that you need to think out of the box. So,
any ideas?
In my opinion, I go with a gut feeling because I believe in my inner,
Right.
I keep asking myself, if it's there deep down, I'm a go-getter, I'm going to get it, I'm going to finish it.
And last words with you.
I think, like I was listening to everyone else, and I was thinking, I think it's a blend of both.
Right.
As a developer, you have to show them something, right? And that's intangible because it has not been done yet. While on the other hand, let's say we also have done things in the past. It does help. It helps the other person to understand, okay, if they have done it in the past, they can do it in the future. But obviously it's not like the same thing that is going to happen. Things will change, right? So it's like a balance of both. You have to show them a vision, but you also have to back it up by something tangible.
Absolutely. So thanks a lot, my co-panelists. It's been fantastic talking to them. Thanks a lot to the audience for patiently listening and getting insights from these wonderful women. I hope today you are going to part with some insights that will deliver up in your organizations. Thank you.